My name is Yamila El Kayat, and I am the Outreach Services Librarian here at the Arizona Health Sciences Library. Today we're going to be covering health information research skills. And the reason why we're covering this is because I'm under the impression that you guys are going to be working on a science project and required to look at resources that come from scholarly resources. We're going to go over kind of the Health Sciences Library and where things are. By the end of this presentation, you'll be able to identify and describe the differences between scholarly and popular literature. We're going to be looking at searching techniques and tips for you to be able to look at the databases and kind of narrow your searches and really find what you're looking for. We'll be looking at the differences between consumer health information and searching biomedical journals. And we'll look at 3 databases that can help you with the searches that you'll be doing in the next. We have this little video that will tell you a little bit about the differences between scholarly and popular literature. I like to show this video because I think he does a better job than I do.
As a college student, you will quickly discover that when using periodicals for research, it is important to know the difference between scholarly and popular periodicals. Periodicals are publications that are published regularly. Scholarly periodicals are known as journals, while popular periodicals are called magazines. The sources of information that you use for the papers and presentations in your classes will be evaluated by your professors, so it is necessary to evaluate the authority of your sources before using them. Scholarly periodicals are considered scholarly because their articles are written by experts. Most scholarly articles are then evaluated by other experts before they are published in a process called peer review. Periodicals that require this process for articles are also called peer-reviewed journals. You will want to use scholarly periodicals as much as possible because they are considered authoritative. If you are able to see the print copies of periodicals, it can be easy to distinguish between magazines and journals. Magazines usually have flashy covers and lots of advertisements inside, while journal covers are usually plain and contain few or no advertisements. If you find a periodical at a newsstand or in a grocery store, it is most likely a magazine. Journals are usually bought directly from the publisher. You should be aware that newspapers are also considered popular periodicals. If you find an article online, however, this distinction can be much trickier to make. Here are some things to look for in a scholarly article. First, you should look for credentials such as PhD or affiliation with a university after the author's name. The article should contain an abstract which summarizes the main points of the article. Many times there will be a short biography, establishing the author's involvement with the subject and possibly listing the author's credentials. There will also be footnotes, or a bibliography at the end of the article, listing the author's sources of information. This allows the reader to consult and verify the material the author used. A scholarly article will also contain specialized vocabulary, showing that the author has in-depth knowledge of the subject. The length of the article is useful to look at as well. Popular articles are usually brief, 1 to 5 pages, whereas scholarly articles are usually much longer. While doing research, you may come across trade or professional publications, which are written for a very specific audience, such as managers or administrators in business, finance, and industry. Articles found in these publications are sometimes written by experts, and other times are written by journalists. They are published quickly to alert people in a particular business of new trends or technology, so even though the author may be an expert, it is unlikely that articles have gone through a peer review process. You should use these articles cautiously. Lastly, you should know that there are some gray areas when deciding if an article is scholarly or not. So if you have questions about whether you should use an article for a paper or project, you should consult your professor.
Or in my case, I would say a librarian. So National Geographic, what is it? Good. Vogue and 17, they have articles in them. What is it? Popular, right? Good, you got it. The New England Journal of Medicine. That gives it out, right? Because of the long name. And the long articles, right? All right, we got it. Perfect. So, the next thing I want to cover with you is called Boolean operators, and that is a term that librarians use. So I don't expect you to know what Boolean operators are, but by the end of the day, you will know what they are. These are basically some techniques that we use to do searches in databases, and that would be good for you all to use also when you're doing your searches. Boolean operators, it sounds very sophisticated, but it really is not. It's just the use of and, or, and not. So you might want to note that. When you're using Boolean operators like and, or, and not, and I'll tell you why we're doing this. And, or, and not needs to be capitalized. If you're really good at math, you can use a minus or a plus. So your minus is going to be your not, and your plus is going to be your and. Always remember that when you're searching databases, your results are usually ordered by relevance. So depending on what you put in, it's probably going to order it by what is most closest to what you've entered. You can change that, so you can change it to, for example, publication date or date that it came into a database, because I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's two different dates. The day that it was published and then the day that it was entered into a database, so that may change too. You can use wildcard searches also, and I'll go into detail about these, how they work in a minute. Your wildcards could be an asterisk or it could be a question mark. In Google Scholar, it'll be your question mark. But in other databases, you can also use it just a little differently. So here are my examples. If I enter into a database liver disease, just the way it's entered up on top there, it's going to find records that are relevant to both the liver and the disease. Now, I've got liver and disease down below, and notice how I've got my Boolean in capitals. The and, it's doing the same thing as above. Do you know why they're different, or why I've put that up there? Any clue? Yes?
Because it'll automatically imply that there's supposed to be an and in there.
Usually, yes, right. So usually we can just say liver disease, and it'll automatically think that it's liver and disease, right? But the reason why I put this up here as an example is because there are databases that can automatically imply that it's an or it can automatically imply that it's an and. And so it's important for us as searchers to really tell the database, this is what I want. I want liver and disease. That way it doesn't assume something else. All right? Okay. If I do quotation marks, that's another form of Boolean. So I've got liver disease in quotation marks. What it's doing is that it is finding records now relevant to the exact phrase, liver disease. It's not going to find anything with disease liver. It's going to find liver disease in that order and the way I've put it in there. The liver or disease is going to find records that are relevant to both of them. So it's kind of like our regular speech, right? Our regular language. We've got and, or, not, and we use them interchangeably. But it's important to talk to the database in that same manner. Just be able to identify your Boolean with your capitals. So your liver disease in quotation marks is going to have probably, we're assuming, less than liver and disease, right? Okay, good. We've got it down. Perfect. Your wildcards are going to work in the following manner. We've got the asterisk, which I told you about. And the asterisk works kind of like this. So we are looking for a word that starts with medic in this example here. And you want to end it. You're not too sure how it's going to be ended in your article. You've identified a subject, for example, liver disease, but you want something in relation to medical or medicinal or medicine. So you want something in relation to this start of a word. Does that make sense? So you can do medic, asterisk, and then it's going to search for words that start with medic. So medicinal, medicine, medical. Does that make sense? This comes in handy when you don't know if something is written plural or singular. Or, for example, women, M-E-N, and then women, M-A-N. You're not sure what was used in the study. You can use your asterisk. That way it searches your database and finds both. Does that make sense? Your question mark works as a placeholder. The asterisk is going to be your ending. In many databases, you can use it as a placeholder also. But the reason why I bring up the question mark is because this is what you're going to use in Google, which we will go over in a minute. So for example, we've got B, question mark, G. You're finding things in relationship to bag, bug, bog, bag, big. Does that make sense? You can use more than one, so you can say B, question mark, G. And then you've got brag. I can't think of another word. Blog. you know? So you've got that on and on and on. You can use it as many times as you want. Same thing, I'm going to go back. Same thing with your and, or, and not. You can have a search string, so you can use and as many times as you want, or as many times as you want in a search string. So you can say liver and disease, or symptoms and teenagers and children, you know, so you can go on and on and on, depending on what it is that you're looking for. So now that we've got that, one last thing that I want to cover with you is the differences between consumer health information and searching the biomedical journals, or I should say, looking at the databases that we'll be looking at in a minute. We've got consumer health information is basically information that's intended to be read by people who are not health professionals. So it's information that's very simple, easy to understand, and the reason why I'm putting this out there is because we're going to look at one database that's consumer health information. The reason being is many times we're looking at a health topic and we're going to do this whole research project, but we really don't understand what the health topic is about or what it entails. It's real easy to go to the consumer health site, read that, learn a little bit more about it, the basics, and then go into the nitty-gritty, big, scholarly article, biomedical journal stuff, right? So I've kind of given you a hint of what the biomedical journals are going to entail. It's basically information that's intended to be read by health professionals or scientists, right? So it's your same difference between the scholarly and the popular, right? That's kind of what we've got, but we've got it online. So the first site that I wanted to cover with you today is called Medline Plus, and it is a site that comes from the National Library of Medicine and the National Institutes of Health. This site is going to have consumer health information. It's going to have information about different diseases, conditions. You can even look at alternative medicine in here, and we're going to go ahead and visit it. So Medline Plus looks like this. What's nice about Medline Plus is that you can search it almost like Google, so you've got your search bar here, and you can just type anything in, for example, diabetes in this case. So sugar diabetes, and you can see here that it's going to give me a mini overview of what I've typed in. Very simple, kind of easy to understand. And as I scroll down, it will give me a list of links that are all reliable, trustworthy, that link either out of Medline Plus or within Medline Plus and give me more information about this particular topic. Off to the side here, you can refine by type. So you can look at, for example, this specific subject within a medical encyclopedia or even within the news. Does anybody know why looking at a topic in the news would be important? It could be important because sometimes a specific research finding can hit the news. So we're doing, this research, and all of a sudden the National Institute of Health has found something out that we didn't know about, and we want to learn more about it. So we can look at it in the news there too if something recent has come up. If I click on the main topic here, so I've got diabetes type 2, I'm going to click on it. It will take me to a page within Medline Plus that will show me that basic overview once again. And as I scroll down, the reason why I'm pointing this out is because we said this was what kind of information? Consumer. Good. So we've got our overviews, we've got a little bit more about alternative therapy, we've even got multimedia, so we've got the health check tools. But down below here, it'll always give us a research section. And that research section gives us information about clinical trials. Anybody know what clinical trials are? Good, good. So they are trials about treatments in relation to what we've entered, right? And here in this section, the government has just required that all scientists publish their information in relation to what they're finding. So in that section you can click, it'll take you to another site, and it'll give you a listing of all the trials that are either going on and open, or it'll give you a list, it'll also give you a list of the trials that have been closed and the results that they have found from those trials. You've also got a research section and a journal article section. So we've gone from consumer health information to scholarly information. So I wanted to kind of point that out because it's a nice little starting point. So that's Medline Plus. So the next site that I wanted to cover is called PubMed. PubMed is a database that comes from the National Center of Biotechnology Information. So PubMed comprises more than 21 million citations, and this is going to be what kind of information? Good. It's going to be scholarly. Good. So it's going to be journals. In order to search PubMed, it's going to have your search bar just like Google. I like throwing that example out because we all use Google. But in order to search it, we're not going to search it just like we do a regular Google, right? Where we just type a question in or, type something in and try to get a set of results. It's important for us to be able to identify key concepts for our search. So if we're looking for, let's say, the cure for cancer, right? I'm not going to type in the cure for cancer like I would in Google, right? I'm going to identify key concepts. What are my key concepts there?
Cancer.
Okay, cancer is one of them. Good. And?
Cure.
Good, cure. But we can kind of change those words around. So we can say treatments. So we're identifying key concepts to our question or our topic that we're looking for. All right. Once you've done that, you can search within PubMed, and we're going to go into these things. We can do advanced searches. That will allow you to search by author, journal, or title, that kind of stuff. You can limit your searches, which is really neat, and I'll show you how to do that too. And I put this side note in here. Remember that searching within the university network will bring different results because the libraries, what we do is we pay millions and millions of dollars for databases to give us access to their journal articles, which would explain why we don't have as many books here, right? So our money's going towards electronic databases. All right, so this is what PubMed looks like. You can get there by either Googling PubMed or typing in pubmed.gov. PubMed looks like this. You could do searches within PubMed, like for example, our diabetes search, right? And you can see here that I've gotten 485,401 results. I don't have the time of day to go through all of those. And I don't think any of you want to go through all of them, right? Because we'd have to split it in like 100,000 each. That way we could get through them, right? Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. So it's important for us to be able to identify key concepts. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine diabetes with exercise and see what happens. So I'm going to say diabetes and exercise. So I've identified two concepts in there, right? So I went from 400,000 results plus to 15,000. That sounds a little bit better, right? That's still kind of big, but but we've narrowed it, right? So I can find articles in here that just have diabetes, and I can find articles in here that just have exercise, right? Why would that be useful at all then? In this example, it wouldn't be useful, right? It totally didn't make any sense, right? But the reason why I bring the or up is because many times we've really identified a key concept that's really narrow, and we're only getting 1 or 2 results. So now we can add a different concept to it, and it might give us a few more results. What's going to happen to my results if I put quotation marks around them? So it's going to look for stuff with that exact phrase. Notice how I've gone down to 38 results. That is a lot better than my 15,000, right? And notice how it's in bold. I've got diabetes, exercise in bold. Over here, I don't have anything in bold, but it's probably within the article, and it's in that same order. I've got diabetes, exercise, right next to each other. So it's a phrase now. So PubMed will also allow you to limit, I said. Off to the left-hand side, you can limit your searches to, for example, publications written in the last 5 years. I'm going to click on that, and you'll notice that now I go to 19 results from 38. What's interesting about that is many researchers, at least here on campus, are not looking at literature that's older than X amount of years, right? So they say, all right, I'm going to do this research, but I don't want to look at anything older than 5 years or 10 years. So that's one way of limiting your search off to one side there. You can also limit to, for example, species. If you want to look at research that has just been done on humans. So I'm going to click on humans, and notice how it went from 19 to 11 results. That means that 8 of those results there was research on possibly, I want to say animals, right? If you click on show additional filters, you can also limit by, for example, languages, or if you're looking at just specific to females or males, you can do that there too. A specific age range, I'm going to click on show, and now I can narrow, for example, English here, and I went from 11 to 11, so that means that's good. That means no articles in there were written in another language, but because PubMed collects research information worldwide, there are articles that are written in Portuguese and Italian and French, and that doesn't help us very much unless you speak those languages, right? So you can do that there too. What I do want to cover here is the PubMed results. So they look sort of like this. The reason why I'm covering this is because I do want you to know that when you get your list of results, you're going to have in blue, you've got your title. Right below that, you've got your authors. And then under that, you've got your journal abbreviation. So it tells you what journal that article is in, because PubMed is not a journal. PubMed is a database with a collection of articles from different journals. Right next to your journal, you're going to have your publication date, your volume and issue number, and your pages. So it's always important to be able to note these things or write them down. Off to the side, notice how it says free text. It will show you if there's a link to the free text, and if you're searching within the University of Arizona, it will show you a link to the University of Arizona's free text, or not free, but full text. So you'll be able to download it as a PDF article. Down below, PubMed has the PMID. That is a unique identifier to that article within PubMed. What's neat about PubMed, and this is probably the only database that's going to do that, is it gives unique numbers to each article. Meaning that I no longer have to write the title down, the author down, and everything down so I could get to the University of Arizona, so I could download the PDF, right? You just write down that number. And once you're here, you can just type that number into PubMed, and that's the only article that will come up because it's a unique identifier. So that's kind of neat about PubMed. I did mention that free full text link there. I'm going to show you kind of how it works. So notice how we've done this search, and there are no free full text articles that show up here. If I click on free full text, it's going to narrow my results a lot. And it'll show me that it's free at PubMed Central, so I can click on that and it'll take me to the article where I can then click on the links up on the right-hand corner and download it as a PDF. So it's taken me here. I can look for the PDF link and download it as a PDF and save it. That way I can read it later or print it. Many times when it's not available as a free full text, for example, this first one here, notice how it doesn't say free PMC article. I can click on it, but notice how it still gives me a link up here, Springer link. Any clue what that means? That means it's an article that the University of Arizona has subscribed to. So we're paying for this article, and you can click on it. It'll take you to the Springer link, and it'll take you to the article, and you can download it as a PDF. The reason why it's allowing me to do that is because I'm using the university network. I won't be able to do this at home unless I have a net ID. The last database that I did want to cover with you is Google Scholar, because there are many databases out there. PubMed is very specific, like I said, but there are databases. For example, CINAHL is a very nursing-specific database. We've got ERIC, which is a very educational database. So we can go on for days looking at different databases with very specific topics within them. So I do want to simplify things for you, and I know that most of us have searched Google. Google Scholar is a great source to look at too. How many of you knew that Google Scholar was available? No? Okay. So there is Google, right? Google.com, where we do our searches and we get anything that's on the World Wide Web. Well, scholar.google.com is also a product that comes to us from Google, but it's going to search different sources. It's also going to find articles, books, abstracts, that kind of stuff, even court documents. So this is kind of what Google Scholar looks like. And you know what? If you don't remember scholar.google.com, you can always go to Google and type in Scholar Google or Google Scholar, and it'll come up. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, just like Google, the only thing below it is the Scholar. And it's going to do similar searches to what PubMed did, except that, check this out. We've got diabetes. I'm going to do that search. I've got 2 million results. In PubMed, I only had, 450,000, something like that. So it's going through many databases. It's not in relationship to just the bioengineering or the, health world, that kind of stuff, right? But not only that, it's also bringing up articles. So it is scholarly stuff. I'm not going to say it's not. But it's also looking at things that are not peer-reviewed. Remember that? We looked at it in the video. So PubMed is only going to bring up articles that have been peer-reviewed. Google Scholar is not. I'm not trying to say peer-reviewed stuff is better than non-peer-reviewed, but it's gone through some sort of vetting. So it's gone through another professional looking at it and verifying that either the science project is doable and it is good stuff, right? So that's what's happening here in Google Scholar. But you can see that Google Scholar works just like PubMed. So I can do the AND exercise once again, and what's going to happen to my results? Okay, it'll decrease. Good. 1,440. Here goes a good example for you. What happens if I do the OR? It increased, but it was less than, okay, we've got diabetes, right? 2,310. We said OR exercise, what happens? Less, right? Why is it less? This is an example of what I had told you about. Remember I told you that databases assume there's an AND in between things? Google Scholar assumes there's an AND in between things. So it's looking at diabetes and OR and exercise. Does that make sense? So that's why it's getting less instead of more. This is why we shouldn't assume that databases know what we're talking about, but it's important to use these Boolean searches and kind of get a feel for the database, what it's doing, and why it's doing what it's doing. So I've got my diabetes exercise with quotation marks. Notice how it's doing bold. It's bolding whatever is in that order. Diabetes exercise up there. The first one says diabetes exercise. So it's looked for that specific phrase. And notice how it's also telling me off to the right-hand side if that article is available free or through the university. So we've got asagepub.com, and it's in PDF, but it says full text at U of A library. That means that these here are probably articles that the University of Arizona has paid for. So this one is free, just free no matter what. So you've got one that's free. But it just kind of illustrates to you the use of using our network and being able to use our resources. To the left-hand side here in Google Scholar, you can also limit your searches for articles that have been written since 2014 or since 2013, since 2010, that kind of stuff. And you can sort it. We said they were sorted usually by relevance, but we can sort them by date if we'd like down here, and it'll change the order of my articles. And so that kind of completes the presentation that I wanted to give you guys.